Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something we all do, but honestly, totally take for granted. Take a deep breath, set aside your distractions, and let's map out the fascinating and surprisingly rapid biological consequences of ignoring your body's most foundational need for rest. What actually happens when the human machine is pushed way past its limits? Let's find out.
So here's the ultimate question. What if you didn't sleep for 7 whole days? Now picture this. You've been up for a full 24 hours. At first, you're probably thinking, hey, this really doesn't feel that bad, right? It's that super relatable trap we've all fallen into at some point. You're tired, sure, but you can still function. You just pour yourself another cup of coffee, push through your day, and tell yourself that very familiar lie, I'll just sleep later. But what if you don't? What if you just keep going for 2 days, 3 days, or literally a full week? What actually happens to your brain, your physical body, and even your grip on reality?
Well, that brings us to the first stage, the illusion of control.
Okay, let's look at day 1 on our timeline. By this point, your body is actively begging for sleep. Your eyes are starting to feel super heavy, and your overall focus naturally drops. But you can still think pretty clearly, you can move around, and, crucially, you can still act perfectly normal to the outside world. And honestly, this is exactly why most people deeply underestimate the situation, simply because nothing really feels genuinely dangerous yet.
But here is where it gets really interesting, because what's happening completely out of sight is a whole different story. Under normal circumstances, your brain literally uses sleep to clean itself through something called the glymphatic system. It's basically a wash cycle that physically flushes out the toxic byproducts built up during your day. But at day 1 of no sleep, that essential cleaning process just stops cold, and those toxins are actively starting to build up right inside your brain.
Then, as we cross into day 2, things begin to shift dramatically. Your reaction time slows way down. You forget little things, and then you start forgetting bigger things. Your brain literally begins skipping steps, exactly like a computer lagging when you have way too many programs open. But you know the truly scary part? To you, everything still feels completely normal. Yet scientists actually compare 24 hours without sleep to being legally drunk. Your decision-making is already heavily impaired. Just let that sink in for a second. You might firmly believe you're doing perfectly fine, but your brain is emphatically not.
Which leads us right into our next stage. Reality begins to break.
Hitting day 3, your physical body is just entirely exhausted. But your brain? It's so desperate to cope with the profound lack of rest that it actually starts distorting reality. This is exactly where the hallucinations kick in. You might look across the room and start seeing shadows that definitely aren't there. You might hear really distinct sounds that completely do not exist. Basically, your brain is losing its ability to interpret the world around you accurately.
So now, crossing from day 3 into day 4, you are absolutely no longer just dealing with being very tired. This is active neurological failure. Your brain can't regulate itself anymore, which means your emotions become wildly unstable. We're talking intense anxiety, deep paranoia, maybe even sudden aggression. Tiny things feel completely overwhelming. On top of that, your perception of time totally warps. Just a few minutes can stretch out to feel like agonizing hours. Your thoughts slow down so much that you might physically struggle to just form a basic sentence, or even understand a simple conversation with someone standing right in front of you.
Now we enter the truly dangerous territory: total system failure. Looking back at our timeline, we hit day 5. And at this point, the lack of sleep has absolutely ravaged your entire physical system. Your immune system is severely weakened, leaving your body struggling to fight off even the most basic everyday infections. Inside your chest, your heart rate gets totally erratic and irregular. And physically, your basic motor coordination is pretty much entirely gone.
And then, something even more terrifying starts happening. Microsleeps. These are involuntary moments where your brain simply overrides your conscious will and forces itself to shut down for a few seconds. You do not choose to do this. It just happens. And it will happen whether you're standing up, walking down the street, or, terrifyingly, even if you are driving a car.
By day 6, the reality is incredibly bleak. Your body is fundamentally breaking down, the hallucinations are just a constant presence now, and you lose all track of what is actually real. You are technically awake, but you are not truly conscious anymore.
Finally, we reach day 7 on the timeline. Now, if you somehow manage to get to this point, your body is at its absolute limit. Your brain is severely, dangerously impaired. Your very perception, your memory, your fundamental identity, they all just begin to collapse in on themselves. But here is the vital truth about all of this. Most people would never actually reach day 7.
Why? Because your biological drive is so incredibly strong that your body will forcefully make you sleep no matter what, just to prevent permanent, irreversible consequences.
Which brings us to our final section. Sleep is survival.
To put this all into perspective, back in 1964, a high school student named Randy Gardner actually managed to stay awake for a record-breaking 11 days straight for a science fair project. 11 days! It remains an astonishing testament to human endurance, but it also serves as a really stark warning.
Because by the end of those 11 days, the entire timeline we just explored was completely validated. Gardner couldn't speak clearly, he couldn't remember basic things, and he was hallucinating constantly. His brain was quite literally failing, but the huge relief here is that after he finally mercifully went to sleep, his brain did slowly recover.
Which brings us to our biggest takeaway today. Your body keeps a meticulous ledger. It tracks every hour, every minute, and every single second you deny it rest, and eventually, it will forcefully demand what it needs. So the next time you find yourself casually saying, "Oh, I'll just sleep later," remember the journey we just took. I want to leave you with this final thought. Sleep is not weakness. It's the reason you are still alive. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next explainer.